Good Friday morning, Larry Sprinkle here, along with Chris Mulcahy. Here we are, back again.
This is nice.
Yeah, every Friday has been so different. What we've talked about,
I know, right?
From extreme weather to storms. At least things have calmed down here locally. Although I would say this afternoon we could see some storms tracking across the area later this afternoon, probably from about 3 till 7. That's probably the time frame of all that. So we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. The situation now looking okay from 1,040. I love this shot, don't you?
Yeah, no, and we can turn around. You can really just see the topography across the areas and the mountains off in the distance. But mainly, it's a really delightful start to the day.
Nice start. And then, as we said, this afternoon, we'll take a look at our future cast. It takes us about 4 o'clock. I would say between 3 and 7 today. Be aware, showers, even a few strong thunderstorms are possible on your way home. Could be kind of a messy commute. That's all the way from Spartanburg to Charlotte, all the way towards areas around Rockingham and Richmond County. Then things get a lot better. You know what's different about today?
What's that?
You know what the big thing is? I think the big news, it's been in the 90s, a little bit of a heat wave.
Oh my gosh. The last few days, if you have him in the person who's like, well, this is not comfortable. Why do I live here? I forget that we do this all the time. Yeah, because you hit 90 degrees is one thing, but once you're talking about 95, that 5-degree difference in that range is a huge difference. So the 80s are welcome.
Certainly so. Low to mid 80s for high temperatures today. Here into the tropics we go. That went by real quickly right there.
That was real fast.
Let's go back to the graphic to show you what we're talking about. Potential tropical cyclone 1, our first of the 2022 hurricane season, right there just north of Cancun and Cozumel. Its winds are sustained at 40 miles an hour. Just doesn't have that center of circulation well defined to call it a tropical storm, but that will happen. And it really moves more towards, say, the Florida Keys or towards Miami. Look at that right there, the time frame of that. Will not become a hurricane.
Yeah, luckily, we have a lot of things that are kind of working against this. It's still a real high wind shear environment. And that's one thing that can really shred up a storm. They don't really like to be disturbed at the upper levels because that slants it and it can't develop as much. And if this is later on in the season, if the water temperature is a lot warmer, we'd be talking about a hurricane. But luckily, this looks to be just Tropical Storm Alex with really the rain being the big story in Florida. Big
story there. It will move away from the Carolina coastline. The only threat for us would be some rip currents, dangerous rip currents, maybe some gusty winds. We're going to keep that storm away from us. It's farther out in the Atlantic Ocean as we get to next week. But there are tropical storm warnings in effect south of Tampa down towards Sarasota as you get towards Miami, just south of Jacksonville. That's a big area with the tropical storm warnings in effect. So here we go. Our first one of the season. Going to happen probably later today or tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to be doing this at least another 10 to 20 times, so we'll see how this goes. But what's interesting is the front that brought us rain yesterday and is bringing us rain today is actually a really good thing because that's going to be blocking the system just southeast of us, or else you'd have a chance that it would be going a little bit further north. So that's been our saving grace. Meanwhile, I don't think really many areas are going to get hit that 6 to 10 range. I only put that because that's just offshore. In general, still 3 to 6 inches for your Saturday because that's pretty much the time it's going to be there. That's a lot of rain. So luckily this isn't a slow mover. We'd be talking about some bigger issues. But we also mentioned what's weakening this. So wind shear, as I mentioned, wind shear is the change of wind with direction and speed with height. So once you have stronger winds up above, that can blow up the formation of a storm. It's pretty much riding that unfavorable environment. So it's a nicer southern part of the storm. The north is kind of ripping it up. So that doesn't really give us a chance to develop as much. Still has it moving into Florida by Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. Should be clear by the overnight Saturday. And luckily it's not going to be affecting us. As far as the winds go, maybe have some gusts up to about 40 miles per hour. But again, this isn't really a wind event. It will be classified that as a tropical storm because winds will get to that 40 mile per hour range. But mainly it's just that 3 to 6 inches of rain. But luckily, as we mentioned, it's a quick mover. So the Florida Keys, will probably be, that's the area that could be suffering from a lot of heavy rain. But luckily with the soil, sandy soil in Florida, that will help with the situation. So once again, we have the tropical storm warning. None of that for us. This is all in Florida, all South Florida, Florida Keys, including Cuba. Cuba involved. They will get inundated with very heavy rain. So that's where the potential for really severe weather is down south.
Yeah, and not to downgrade anything, but this is nothing for Florida.
No,
this
times.
is just a basic day of thunderstorms like what we have. So not downgrade anything. Still a lot of rain, 3 to 6 inches anywhere. But so we will have some flooding problems. But as we mentioned, it's actually a really picture perfect weekend here. So enjoy it. We have the 80s. It's not as humid. Any break from the humid air that you can get anytime going forward, take advantage.
So remember, Alex happens, this is the very beginning of tropical season, only the first. We got a long way to go. It goes from now through November. It's just that this time we get to escape it. So if you're escaping across the Carolinas this weekend, it's going to be in the mid to upper 80s Saturday and Sunday, back to the 90s by the middle of next week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you.